Hello everyone. Today's youth industry talk, I sat down with Dejor Jones. He is 17 years old and lives in Pennsylvania. He's been doing professional acting for about 7 years, and he's been acting in general, doing all of it since he was 8. So get ready, he's super talented, super insightful. Here we go. Hello everyone, welcome back to another youth industry talk. Today we have someone very exciting, Dejor Jones. Here he is to tell him a little bit about himself.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hey man, I'm excited to be here. Man, where do I start? Wow. Acting. It's been a very wild journey. My experience with it. It's been. The thing is, when you're first coming into this, I came into this at a very young age. I came into this at like 8 years old. Um, there's gonna be a lot of people, even when you're younger, they're just gonna, even when you're older, you just, oh, like you're good, you're really good, you could get to that next level, you know what I mean? You could do this, you could do that. And it's fun, it's fine to hear when you're young and you're starting out and you're just getting little auditions here and there and doing commercials and different things like that. But as time goes on, um I've done plenty of things, from different commercials to different TV shows, and honestly, people are always going to tell you the same thing. But then there's going to be a period, um when there's this sort of, every actor has, it's the dry spell period, you know what I mean? And it's even worse when you came off of a different multitude of jobs and now it's just like nothing's happening, and you're trying to figure out your next move, and you're trying to figure out, well, people were telling me I was good, and I'm not understanding. You start to face, there's a lot of different adversities that you face with acting, and you know what I mean? And it's not just the physical aspect, it's also the mental aspect. And I feel like that's why a lot of people, when they come into acting, maybe like a year or two after, they'll give up, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, it's such a toll on the mind, because you don't know what these casting directors and these producers truly want, you know what I mean? So it's like, you start to question your ability to even, you start to question your ability and your skill and whether you're able to even continue doing this. And once you're young, it's fine, it's cool, because you're not getting jobs, but you're like, you're like 8, you're like 10, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I got my parents to rely on, it's fine. But when you get a little older, it's much, much, much more difficult to come to the realization that you're not getting jobs, you know what I mean? And that's when you start to, like I said, question your ability, and you start to um ask yourself, like, you know you know I'm about to go to college, I need money, I want things, you know what I mean? There's things that I want to do. I don't have a car. Other teenagers, may have a car, you seeing that, you know what I mean? So it's like, you start to question everything, and it just starts to take a toll on your mind. But um
Yeah, I just want to jump in. I completely agree, 100%. Are you 17 or 18?
I'm 18 now.
You're 18 now. So yeah, that's I know exactly what you're talking about, that dry spell. It's basically once you turn roughly, I think it's like 14, 15-ish to
Mhm.
17, it's like nothing. It's like
Yeah,
you do get stuff, things come. It's not nothing, but like I've had months where it's like, okay, what's going on? Like I have
yeah,
these people working for me, what's going on? And
yeah.
it's like the whole child labor laws thing. It's like we could hire someone who's 18 or over to do this and that.
Uh-huh.
That's like a
Yeah.
huge part of it too. And you said you started when you were 8?
I started when I I started when I was 8, like making different videos and stuff, but I started acting professionally when I was about uh 12.
12. Oh, okay. How did you I ask everybody this because everyone's answer is so different. No one's is the same. How did you get your first agent or manager, and who are you with now? Is it different from the beginning, or?
Well, uh I started out when I started out, I was going to the actor studio down in Philadelphia, which is closed now. But uh, I was going there, uh, and then it had closed down for like however long it did, and I was trying to figure out like, okay, well, where I guess I'm not going to be an actor anymore. So I was like, a couple years later, like I think like 2 years later, um, my one of the teachers there had called me. Was like, hey, you know what I mean? I want to manage you, and this and that. So I was like, okay, well, that's cool.
Have you obviously you've been getting auditions, and this is a question I also ask a lot of different people, and everyone's answer is always different. Some people are just like flat out no, I don't. But do you have a process when it comes to auditioning? And did COVID really affect you? Because did you always kind of do self tape, or did in person really like stop when COVID came? Because I know for me it was mostly self tape anyway.
Mhm. It didn't really affect me as far as auditioning because self-tape auditions were just starting to come up a lot more anyway,
Right.
during the time that it was happening, at least for me. So it didn't really affect me as far as auditioning, but it did affect me as far as classes, and getting different types of schooling, that's for acting. So because I'm the type of person where I need somebody to physically show me. You know what I mean? I'm more of a visual learner than I am just sitting here talking and doing it. So I'm not really good with that. And plus, I love to just perform in front of people. You know what I mean? I love to do that. That's what I love about this acting. What I love about the theater, and the other acting aspect. But um, my whole process to auditioning. Wow. Geez, I have so many different ones. Okay. So, ooh, my first approach to it is when somebody sends me over a script, I start reading it immediately. Um, I'll read it, I'll write it down as many times as I need to, and then probably about an hour or two later, I'm ready to do it. Doesn't matter how many pages it is. Then I'll go through the description of the character, whatever they send. He's an extrovert, different things like that. And if they put like certain cues in the script, because I'll read the script so much that I'll just try to, because there's so many different things in the script, so many different details that will unlock different characteristics about a character. So I'll read through. If I see that he's listening to some type of music, or they'll say that he likes, this type of genre of music, I'll go through and I'll just listen to that all day. I'll listen to it all day, listen to it all day. And so many different songs, whatever it is. There was this one time I was doing this character. Uh, I was auditioning for this character for this Netflix show. They said he likes Led Zeppelin. Listen to Led Zeppelin all day. So you know what I mean. Just to get in the mindset, you know what I mean. Like, oh, like this is the type of music that I like. You know what I mean. And even if I don't like it, I try to force myself to like it.
Right.
Um, then I'll wardrobe. Wardrobe, that is key to me. That is very key to me. So of course, you have to dress within regards of you know the basic shirt, different things like that. And sometimes I'll definitely keep it in regards, but I'll always branch out with certain things, you know what I mean, just to make me feel like that guy, you know what I mean, just to feel like that character. So, for instance, there was this one time that I was doing this character, that I was auditioning for this character. He was forget what film it was for, but he was some type of, he was a bum. He was basically a bum, and he was in college, and he always drinking. He was a pothead, you know what I mean? So I figured that I would wear a tank top with this long trenchy type of sweater that I have, and then I put on some sweatpants. You know what I mean? That because all of those different things that you do that the casting director probably or the producer probably won't even notice really help you as an actor uh, and embellish yourself into that character. You know what I mean? So um after that, if the character has an accent, I'll look it up. I'll try to mimic it as great as I can. You know what I mean? Well, not really mimic, but try to get it down as great as I can. Uh, I'll say it all day, all day, all day until my mom gets annoyed. I'll talk to my mom and and my parents into that. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? They get annoyed. Yeah, Dejor, shut up. But it's fine. It is whatever it is. But after that, I sometimes I do emotional recall, depending on what type of character what type of character I'm approaching, because there's other characters. Like, of course, you don't need to do emotional recall for a Nickelodeon audition. You know
Right.
what I mean? 'Cause you're not gonna be crying or anything. But there are certain auditions that you do need to really go there for. And I honestly, a lot of the time, I um I try not to do emotional recall because preparation, in the circumstances of an actual character. David Mamet said this. In the circumstances of that character, if you are truly that character, you do not have to prepare for that moment because it's an actual thing. That's your life. You know what I mean? You don't prepare to, you know, you don't prepare for your mother to die. You know what I mean? Your mother dies, you're gonna break down, you're gonna cry because that's your actual mother, but you need to feel it that much. You know what I mean? It just needs to be inside of you. So I try to stay away from emotional recall because I have this thing with me that I, I can always put myself in somebody else's shoes, and that empathy is always there. So I'm always able to connect with the character. But when I'm not able to connect sometimes, which is very sometimes, I do maybe do a little bit of emotional recall. But other than that, I try to stay away from it. And that's pretty much it. Uh,
That's so interesting. I'm so glad that you like went through the whole thing because I feel like so many people either they're like, I just wing it. And that thing about emotional recall, I have one of my amazing coaches. She always says, I'm a very like anxious person, I like to prepare for everything. And when I started doing like really emotional, heavy auditions, and I would have my coach help me with them, she would always be like, Justin, don't prepare it. Don't like get yourself stuck in a way. I also
mhm.
had the same thing with memorizing. I talked about this with some of my other friends. Don't memorize a way to say the line. Just
Yeah,
memorize the words. And then when you're in the moment, when you're taping, take a second and then really like step into the character. Don't prep it too much or
yeah,
memorize a way to say it because then it just messes you up in the long run and it
it
doesn't
does.
end up looking
Yeah,
good.
it can. All of the thing about being an actor, y- you're not acting. You know what I mean? It's you are actually in these circumstances, so you need to be able to, as the actor, branch out and be able to, if needed, do that improv that could be needed in the scene, or do something that will make you stand out in that audition, because you're gonna get most people when they go into an audition that are gonna, you know by the time they get to the audition, they're gonna have it prepped. they're gonna know on what to say on what line and how to say that line. And each time, it's like, no, dude, that's not. If this is truly the circumstance that you're in, if you're truly that character, you should be able to just do it as that person. I'm probably making it sound so simple, and it's not that simple, but
Right.
you know what I mean, right?
I do, yeah. It sounds so weird telling it to other people. They're like, but you're acting, but you're pretending. It's like, yeah, you're pretending, but like, not really. Like you,
Yeah.
that's what part of like another a question I have for you too is I would say part of auditioning is training, whether you realize it or not. Because most of
Mhm.
the auditions you do, you don't book. It's just sad
Yeah.
truth. Most of the ones you do, it ends up being you don't hear anything, whatever. But you don't realize it, but it's training you and it's helping you, even though you're upset you didn't get the role. So my question is, how do you train? Like, do you do theater as training? Do you do lessons, coachings? Do you do sessions? Like, how do you do it?
Um, uh, I always try to. a- As a young kid, my mother and my father always installed in me to, if you're gonna do this, you want to be versatile. You know what I mean? So, I, a lot of actors try to shy away from the theater and try to, because they don't want to be on the stage and different things like that. But I always try to be very versatile with different all of my training. You know what I mean? I'll do some theater training to work on projection, to work on, having that presence on the stage and work on different things like that. Or I'll do the voiceover training, to help, even if I get like a voiceover audition, you know what I mean? Just so that I can know, what to do. You know what I mean? I'll do the script analysis. I'll do it pretty much. I do pretty much everything. I try to keep my training. I don't like to keep it boxed in. I'm a camera actor, so I need to work on No, it's not like that's that's not what it's about. You should have a multitude of different, skills and different, things that you're able to do. So I try to work on it all.
Yeah, I agree. And you brought up theater. Did you before you went professional, did you start with theater? Because I feel like most people do.
Um, when I was before I was a professional, I used to do like little tiny like plays and at my at Penn State with my teacher, because he would have like he would do the class, right, and inside the class he'd be like, you know what, so we're gonna throw a show, multiple a lot of people, like this wouldn't be like a little tiny show, like a lot of people would come in. So we would prepare some scenes, a bunch of scenes from a play, and then we would just go out there and we would do them with our scene partner, we do them by ourselves. And you'd be surprised, man, like there were some guys there that were amazing. I mean, great actors that I don't understand how I'm not seeing them on TV today. But there was a lot of great performances, ones that were even better than mine. And that's that's a lot to say. But yeah, I definitely did start out with the theater.
Yeah, I that must have been so cool, by the way. That train like that's again training without even realizing it. Like subconsciously, you don't realize like you're training to go professional and to audition all the time. That's so
Mhm.
cool. Me, like, I think most, not all, but most of my actor friends started out in theater, fell in love with it there, and then went to on camera or voiceover or commercial or
Yup.
that whole aspect. Um, I guess now my question is, so auditioning is a job in and of itself, whether
Yeah.
people agree with it. I think it's like it's become part of like my everyday life. You get an audition, like, oh, come home from work, film an audition, and then
Yup.
you just try your best to forget about it unless you
Yup.
get that email. It's like, hey, you got a call back. Um,
Yes.
so, but when you do finally book that job, whether it's TV, film, commercial, voiceover, how was your on-set experience the first time, and like how has it evolved?
First time. Oh man. I would say that, and I think it was because I knew a lot of the different actors and stuff there, and most of the teachers and people who were filming. I mean, honestly, I don't think it was very much different from how I am like now. Like, well, now I'm able to. So back then, of course, there was that immaturity. You know what I mean? While I was on set, always joking and giggling and Dejor, come to the camera. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Doing different stuff like that. But other than that, I guess with now, since then, I've been on plenty of, you know, sets where I was just, being an extra, doing different things like that. So I could, just know what it's like to be on set. You know what I mean? Just know what it's like to even be in a position like that. And there's a couple sets that I've been on with, celebrities and different things like that. And it's like, I guess what I've learned with being on set with people like that is that, you just have to, I don't know, like, of course you're gonna wanna go talk to a celebrity and different things like that. But, I guess I just learned, like, dude, he's just a regular person, just like everybody else. You know what I mean? Just leave him alone, let him do a scene, maybe talk to him after, maybe not. I don't know. But I'm not really there for them. I'm here to get this experience, and I'm here to do whatever my part is in this project. So, ooh, yeah. So it's pretty much the same. I I come in with a goal, and I come in to do basically what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's really changed.
Yeah, that's that's cool. I definitely did the same thing being an extra on things just to like feel what it's like to be on like a real professional set. So when you actually have like a speaking line in something, you don't look like 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 an idiot because you don't know what you're
Yeah,
doing. Because
yeah,
sometimes those even this like small budget things, like I've done student films and things like that, like it's you still get that like adrenaline rush when you show up and you're like, okay, like get ready. And then obviously when it's on a bigger scale, it's a little bit more exciting and there's usually many more people like in the crew and stuff, which
yeah,
also is something that is so terrifying that I was not prepared for. Was 100 crew members looking through a lens watching you, with a camera this close in your face, and they're like, okay, go. And it's like,
yes,
it's something
yes,
like you just have to, you can't prepare for that. You just, you learn it yourself when you're there. And it's like, you can't even describe, you just have to learn how to do it and act with people watching you. You get the hang of it.
yeah.
I think after you've been on set a few times, um,
Mm.
and switching gears like a tiny bit, still with the industry, when did you realize that like show business or like the acting business was a business and there was like more to it than just like having fun and acting in front of a camera? Because I know for me it was I started when I was 14 professional, and at that time I was already kind of like independent, so I was kind of thrown into all the business stuff myself. But I know you started kind of young, so you might not have had that experience yet, or when you were younger. Now maybe different.
Uh, when did I realize it was the business aspect? I guess I realized, the business aspect when I think I realized it at 14, maybe probably 15 or 16. I'm probably over exaggerating, but yeah, my mom always installed, and my parents always installed it to me that, even though you are it's still a business. You know what I mean? You still have to, have your money in order. You still have to uh send stuff off to your agents and managers and make sure that you're signing with the right people, make sure that they're putting you out for the good, roles and different things like that. So, it's still, I don't, I think I knew that after I got my first agent. So yeah, that was about 13. So I think I realized that after I got my first agent, because, it was a lot of different things that I had to do for them, prior to them even sending me out for things. Because before they send you out, they have to have your pictures, and they have to have your reel, and they have to have your resume, and they have to. So it's much more to it than just acting. You know what I mean? So I think 13 was around the time that I figured that out.
Yeah, that's you also brought up a good thing with the things you have to have even before you have an agent, like your headshot, your resume, your reel,
Mhm.
like your actors access, your all those things like that.
Different things.
How long did it take you to put together your reel? Because I know for everyone it's so different. Like some people start off with acting clips where like they film it at home and then they get professional footage and then they get a reel. Like how did you do it? Because I'm still in the process of doing it. Getting footage is something that's such a pain in the ass. You wouldn't even
Yes, it is. Um, well, when I started, like I said, like when I was younger, I was like 8 years old. I used to just do a bunch of different videos. I used to edit all of my videos. So I got that skill of editing, at a very young age. So you know what I mean? When it came to um getting my footage, I was very adamant. You got to be very adamant with people. And that's another thing where it comes to the business. Like you have to be very, very adamant with these producers and directors and things. Make sure you send me my footage. I need that footage. You know what I mean? I'll keep emailing you about that footage until I get it. And not only that, I had my parents on my side, like, send that footage, send the footage. So you know what I mean? Just being very adamant in getting that footage. But after I got it, putting it together was pretty much nothing. You know what I mean? I know myself. I know when I'm doing my best. So you know what I mean? Just get as far as picking different bits and pieces of the best parts from that project of me. That was easy. You know what I mean? A lot of people, especially, definitely once I figured out that people were like paying people for like to create reels, I was like, geez, whoa. Like I found out the prices. I'm like, whoa, okay, I can do this myself. You know what I mean? So it was pretty much an easy thing for me to do.
Yeah. Editing is something that is definitely underrated for an actor. Like just
Yeah.
basic editing skills, learning how to split a clip and like trim it, like just those easy things are like something that like people like they're like, what, how do you do that? Like get iMovie,
Yes.
get like things like that. Like it's so expensive to have people do your reel. Like I remember I got some of my footage and I edited it myself or whatever. And I want for some reason I was curious about what the rates were to have someone like edit your reel, and I'm like, that took me 20 minutes. Like I
Right.
did it, and I
Right. Right. It's ridiculous, bro.
right. My next question is kind of like you can go as deep or as not deep as you want to because I know some people have this could be a conversation for days in the industry. What like issues or problems are going on that you think as like an up and coming generation in the industry we can hopefully fix now or when we become adults because we're the future of the industry as we're young and teenagers now.
Mm. Well, I know. Okay. There has been plenty of roles that I have auditioned for where it starts out as an African American role, and they will completely switch it from an African American to a person of Caucasian descent role. You know what I mean? And um, it's strange to me because you call me in and you say you're looking for one thing, but then you completely switch it up on me, and it's like, well, I did all of this work and I did all of these different things, for this part, not to lose it because of my skill, not to lose it because I don't have enough followers on Instagram, but just to lose it because I'm not a different color. You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? That's it can be devastating, and I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like if we had my dad says this all the time, if we had more, African American writers and we had more African American casting directors doing, certain casting for things, and it would be much more less of that. You know what I mean? And that's also why I said to myself, once I get to a certain level in my acting career, I wanted to switch over to producing and directing. Well, not fully switch, but I wanted to get into
Right.
producing and directing as well. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of actors are doing that, and a lot of actors have been doing that. Like Denzel, Marcy Martin, this one young actor. His name is Petey McKell. I forget his name, but my mom shows him to me all the time. So it's like just working on that aspect of things. I feel like if we work on that aspect of things, I feel like there will be more people of m- more actors, African American actors, not wasting their time. On doing certain things because you think they, like I said, you think they want one thing and it turns out that they want something completely different. Like, yeah, I would love to, after a certain point in my career, just switch over and, be able to help, more African American actors get more, diverse, also roles of diversity. When I came into the to this business, right? I remember I went to go get another agent in Los Angeles. We went out to me and my mom and went out to Los Angeles because they said they wanted to see me. So I'm sitting in the office. I'm waiting. This is that. They called me in. I do my monologue, right? And they said it was great. They said it's good. Um, they told me this one thing that will stick with me for a very long time, and it's really crazy. They said to me that you know when it comes to African American actors such as yourself, a lot of your roles are going to be roles such as the thug or such as the hardcore person on the street selling the drugs and doing it. And I hearing that at 14 years old, like you're like, wow, that that I'm like at that age, I wasn't really, I didn't really understand that much what he was saying. I'm like parts, it's part, it's acting, isn't it? But now that I've gotten older and now that I've seen a multitude of things that are happening in the world and a lot of I'm not the big wise wisdom guy, but I do know for a fact that now like that was the craziest thing that anybody has ever told me, and it's very much true. For African American actors, we do seem to, for a lot of the time, get uh, considered for these rough type of roles. A lot of the auditions that I get are for the rough, tough guy. You know what I mean? Because just that's just what it is, and I don't want that to be just what it is. You know what I mean? I don't want that to be the norm for African American actors. You know what I mean? I want us to be able to play those, you know, I don't want to say nerdy type of roles, but those types of roles where it's like, he is the smart guy. He's the guy making some type of, positive change in the community. He's the guy, that has a great job and a 401k. You know what I mean? He's the Batman of it. He's the Bruce Wayne of this movie. You know what I mean? That's what I want for, young African American actors and even older African American actors. You know what I mean? Just to be able to be seen in that positive light.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where I was talking to, I had a screenwriter on this a few like last week, I think, and we were talking about behind the camera. Like all of that is behind the camera with casting directors, writers, directors, producers, all of that. It's so important, like even especially when you're young, to just get exposed to it a little bit. So when when you're older or in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, you have a little bit of a step up to know what you're doing and what you want and how you want to like cast or what roles you want to write or what shows you want to produce or movies you want to produce and things like that.
Mhm.
I think that's so important. I know I've, started writing and I've talked to other actors about um, authenticity in the writer's room. I talked a lot about it specifically about young people and like a lot of teen shows, how they're not necessarily accurately written. And I brought up with a few people how I think it would be so important to have teenagers in the writing room giving feedback or, looking at drafts or giving ideas and things like that. And that can go with anything. Someone else brought up about I forget what it was, but having just authentic people in the writing room or behind the scenes that can like really um, give insight to what the character is or what's going on, or just like have a say. You don't want everyone who has the same background writing a show, or a very non-diverse group of people producing one show about the black people in 2020. Like, what? That makes no sense. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
um yeah, that's great. And I have one last question, um, also relating to young people, keeping in spirit with my name of Youth Industry Talks. Um, what do you think young people or our generation of people in the industry have to offer the industry, either in front of or behind the camera?
Um, I feel like we as young people, what we have to offer to this industry is when it comes to having a very open mind and not being afraid to go there. I'm talking about like really go there and not being afraid to talk about things, the bad things that all of us can relate to. You know what I mean? And being able to talk about also the good things that all of us can relate to in different situations that young teens at in this day and age go through. You know what I mean? Because back then, I, like there's this show called Euphoria. Back then, it, kids using different types of drugs and doing all that wasn't like really a big crazy type of thing back then, but now it's like everybody smokes a little bit of weed, everybody drinks, everybody pops the perkies. I'm like, wow, it's like you just they ain't even hiding it, and they're not even hiding it. That's what I'm saying. In a show like Euphoria, you know what I mean? It really shows you what kids like that go through. You know what I mean? Like, becoming addicted to drugs at such a young age, and everybody in the world, everybody, all of your peers doing all types of different drugs around you, and how that can influence you to do drugs, and how that, you know what I mean? So I feel like it we have a lot of different things that we can offer as far as that, and I feel like now a lot more of the teenies of the teens are more and more open-minded when it comes to racism as well. You know what I mean? And I feel like they we're more understanding. Teens are more understanding of it, and we try to you know not don't say not acknowledge it, but we try to um, we just see one of our peers as one of our peers. We see any of our peers as another one of our peers. So you know what I mean. I feel like we have that to offer as well. And yeah, this is going to be an exciting couple of years to see a lot of the older people get pushed out, or go wherever they're going to go, and see a lot of the younger generation get in. You know what I mean? So honestly, I can't wait to see even more what we can do. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And you brought up the show Euphoria, which I talk to people about all the time. There's so many things about that show that I love that I like to talk about. But there's one thing, when Zendaya actually won her Emmy for Best Actress in that, which by the way she totally deserved. When in her speech she said, I don't want to quote it, but she basically said, youth out there, young people out there, they have a lot to offer. And she said, our show might not be a great example of that, but they do. And I thought that was so true. And I was like, although their show does show like the things that teens go through that are necessarily the down points
Yeah,
of their life, like there are people who go through those things and, are still fighting for activism and justice and things like
yeah,
that. So I think even though, a lot of teen shows are very dark and high stakes for entertainment, it's also a good representation of what some teenagers do go through. Some people
yeah,
don't, but some people
yeah,
do. And I'm so happy that we're not afraid to talk about it and show it
mhm,
on TV for other people to see. I think it's great.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was my last question. I guess my last thing is, um, any advice and also an opportunity to like plug anything, any shows coming out, movies to watch, things to follow.
Um, Advice. Um, I would just say for all the young actors out there, man. This is truly going to be a journey. And I'm still on mine, but what I want all of you to know is that just keep going. Okay, no matter what anybody else says. I don't care how untalented you may think you are. Just keep going. All right. Um, I don't care if your mom doesn't care. I think I even said this on my Instagram. I don't care if your mom doesn't care. I don't care if your dad doesn't care. I don't care if anybody else in the world doesn't care. Me, another actor, one of your peers, I care. I care how you do. I care what your next step is. I care what else I see you in. I care. So just know to, you know, uh, keep going. You're gonna face a lot of adversity, but you know, if you can make it in the acting industry, you can you can make it in anything, man. So yeah. Also, follow me on Instagram at dejour.actor. I'm actually I don't have any shows that I'm not in anything right now. You know what I mean? But but um I'm in talks about something right now that is going to be pretty major. So I will probably be posting about that if you follow me on my Instagram at Dejour.actor. Also, check me out on HBO Max, That Damn Michael Che. I'm on there. It's a great show. It's funny. It has a bunch of very smart and strategic comedy in it. And I'm pretty sure that all of you will love it. If you love Dave Chappelle, you'll love it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much
Yeah,
it. Thank you for
thank you.
having me here, man.
Yes, of course. And also, I watched the episode you were in. You were
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. You were in it you were a co-star, and a lot of times co-stars could literally be one line. You had more than one line. Like
Thank
you
you,
had multiple lines.
man.
You
Oh
did so good.
man.
As soon as you posted about it, I was like, I like watched it right away. I was so excited. We did a class together a few months ago, and you were the first one to go, and me and one of my other actor friends were in it, and we were texting each other the whole time. We were like, "Oh my god, he's so good! Wow, how is he? Oh my god, he's so good! He's so good!" Yeah,
Thank you, man.
yeah,
Thank you so
so
much. Thank
good.
you so much, man. I really appreciate that because man, I- I'll be honest with you. I think I'm good, but I don't think I'm that good. You know what I mean?
You're
So,
that good. Trust
so
me,
that.
you're that good. You are.
Oh man, thank you, man. I'm not, but thank you.
Um, well, thank you so much. It was great talking to you. Everyone go follow him on Instagram. I'll put his thing on the screen somewhere, or I'll put it at the end or something. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. This was amazing, and I would love to come back again.
And that was our talk with Dejour. It was so nice to talk to him and hear about his audition process and his insight on being young and being in the industry and what it's really like in the business and rejection and dealing with roles and issues in the industry. It was so interesting, and I'm just so glad he decided to sit down with me and have these conversations. Uh, so yeah, everyone go follow him on Instagram. Check him out on his HBO show. He had a co-star role in That Damn Michael Shea. It was so good. I've seen it. He's a phenomenal actor. Everyone go watch him, support fellow actors, and get ready for our next talk. It's coming soon.